What up, players? It's Warboss Tay up in this mud. A little intro before the intro, just showing you how far we get today with our how to paint white. And I know what you're saying, this is nothing compared to white. What are you doing? You're lying. Stop lying to us. Well, this is actually the base colors, the darker colors that we're going to build up to. We are going to build up to this, and we will get here in part 2. For today, we're just building the base colors up. We're starting to develop the shadows and the recesses, and we're building up to the white. And like you can see here, we've got some shadows over here, and that's kind of what we're building up. Like you can kind of see where I started putting shadows on the inside of this guy's leg in there, and on the power fist as well. We're just building up successive layers, and this is the heavy metal technique, so it's not suitable for, you know, if you're gonna mass paint a White Scars army or anything with a lot of white. But if you want to take the time to do a character model or a set piece or like a diorama, then this is definitely a good way to go. So I also talk about, though, throughout the video, a shorter, easier, faster approach if you just want to slap some paint on and get some models on the field. But if you want to take the time to do it right, then, or to do it detailed and kind of like build up your skills as a painter, then this is a cool way to do it. So thanks, hope you guys learned something, gained something. Don't forget to leave me some comments, hit the like button before you go, and we'll see you in the next video. What up, players? It's Warboss Tay up in this mud. Today we are going to dream the impossible dream, and we are going to paint up some white power armor. Oh mama. Okay, so Games Workshop, in an attempt to satisfy all the players out there who've been saying there's no way to paint white, there's no way to do it, especially over a black undercoat, have come up with this base coat, or this base color, ceramite white. And although it does a pretty okay trick, it is pure white, and pure white is, you know, a very uncomfortable color to paint. It's on the end of the spectrum, it's hard to shade it, you can't highlight it because it's all the way at the end of the spectrum. So so while Games Workshop did do a great thing by offering that to us, we have had to look for other ways of doing an effective white. So I think I found it. I've painted it onto this guy's right leg here. You can see there's shadows behind it. I was able to shade it nicely because I was building up from it. It's got realistic looking shading. It doesn't look like ink or shades just like painted into the cracks and crevices. It looks pretty realistic. So the way we're gonna do it is, and also welcome to episode 2 of how to paint a White Scars biker. We're doing like both, how to paint white, how to paint a White Scars biker. Oh, it's great. 2 birds with 1 stone. I like birds. Thank you, Igor. So what we're going to be doing is following this White Dwarf issue number 358. It's got Skaven on the cover from November 2009, and it's got a Masterclass section in it on Corsaro Con. I guess it's going to be like sideways because of the tripod. It's going to show you right here how we're going to do it. There's a little sneak peek at the recipe for the steps we're going to be doing, and I'm going to be converting it into the new paint range so that it can suit our needs. But basically, your best friend in this, and this is going to be a little bit of a process, is your trusty wet palette. So, trusty wet palette. I've got a napkin from McDonald's. Love me some McDonald's. Just folded it up, threw it in Dr. Festus's clamshell, added some water, boom! Instant awesome. Wet palette, the way to go to mix paint and leave paint without keeping the lid of your pots open to dry. Really, one of the best techniques I can offer as a painter. Use it. It seems like a little extra work. When I first saw Beasts of War demonstrating how to make it, I was like, what? But yeah, it's really helped. Okay, and this method is really best used for characters. If you're going to be batch painting a whole bunch of White Scars, then there's a White Scars painting tutorial in one of the newer White Dwarves where I think right before they re-released the paint range, and back when they released the No, it was after they released the paint range. It was right when they released the flyers, the Docket Jet, the Storm insert word here for the Space Marines, and the Necron stuff. They showed a White Scars Force that they painted up, and then they showed a little bit of an army, quick army class on how to do it. But that one was pretty much Ceramite White, Shade, Devlin Mud, and then Ceramite White or White Scars or something like that. It wasn't as cool. So this one is definitely going to let you be more artistic, but it is going to require that you be okay with using some paint, experimenting, and just maybe, you know, you might want to watch this video all the way through first and see what you have to do, because just reading the step-by-steps in the masterclass, it's kind of silly. It's kind of ridiculous how they make you mix. They expect you to do things like a 1-to-1 mix first, and then a 3-3-2, and then a 1-1-2, and then a 1-1-6 paint ratio, and by the end I was just like eyeballing it. So welcome to War Boss Tay's eyeballing some white paint mixtures. Let's jump into it. The first thing you're gonna need are, if you have Finrisian Gray, that's really the color you should use, but I do not. That's like one of the colors I do not have. So instead of Finrisian Gray, I use Celestra Gray. You want something that's a little bit light and also has a little touch of blue to it. So I went for this because I don't have the actual Finrisian Gray. You want to put an equal part of this to an equal part of Steel Legion Drab, and this is going to give you a nice mixture between kind of light gray like this and brown. So I'm going to show you how I mix my paints. Put it right in the center here, and you notice anytime I notice that the wet palette is puddling, like there's excess of water, then I would just tip it to the side and empty it out. You do not want there to be like noticeable puddling in your wet palette. You just want the paints to kind of go on the wet palette and stay usable. Also, when you're mixing paints, you want to make sure that the paint never goes all the way to the what they call the ferrule, or the base of where the hair meets this little metal piece of your brush, because when you do that, it will stick there if you don't clean it, and then your brush will pretty much become unusable after a while. The hairs will start splitting. It's just a big mess. Okay, so we're going to go in, and this is the first thing that we paint onto our model. You notice another great thing about the wet palette, or the ghetto wet palette, is that, oops, it makes it so that your paint doesn't clump, which is really one of the best things in the world. If you're not able to get to some pieces, like in the shades, the shadows, the far recesses and stuff, then that's fine. Don't worry about that. So how much should you use your mixture on the wet palette? I usually like to use it until the paint going on the model is just so watery that it's just not covering anymore. I'm just gonna take this off. So when you apply the brush to the model and you see that the paint is spreading over the surface and it's just not covering at all, that's when it's time to reapply. You gotta make sure, be careful, that the first time you apply this paint, you spread it out so that it doesn't dry and leave any watermarks. The trouble gonna say trouble, with priming in white and then going in and hand painting white after is that it's really easy to miss some cracks and crevices and recessed areas. You don't want to do that. Yeah, so it's a base coat of, and even in the tutorial in the master's class, it says that you apply it over several thin coats. So I'm just gonna do the first coat, and then I'm gonna let this baby dry. In fact, by the time I get to the front of the model, the back part should be dry. I'm gonna cut the camera. I'm gonna add a second, maybe even a third coat. I'll do that off camera though. I don't think it's important to see that. I just want to show you how it is to apply the first coat. And then you all can go off and do that and join me when you're done. You'll notice that it's, or you'll start to see that it's getting to be time to redo your paint, because when you try to put your brush down onto the paint in your palette, it just will not pick up as much paint anymore. Yes, if that makes any sense. And that's your first clue. When you actually apply it to the model and you see that, oh yeah, it's not spreading onto the model as it used to, then that is when you know it's time to reapply. Now, if Games Workshop, the rumor was that Games Workshop might be going to a dropper bottle for their paint pots, and that would have been a lot easier to mix these paints. If you use Vallejo model color, they use dropper bottles. If you use Vallejo, then what I would suggest is going to DakaDaka, or just actually Googling. If you Google paint conversion DakaDaka, and maybe something like Games Workshop, just to get you there, they have a great paint compatibility chart for all the ranges, not just Games Workshop and Vallejo, but like any model range that comes out with color. It's really, really fantastic. And yeah, it should be able to cover any model color that you have. This is very Talarn Desert Raiders. Okay, so you might be thinking, why? I don't understand why. Why are we doing this gray brown? Like, if we're doing white, shouldn't we be base coating in something that's more like gray or darker, like a darker tone of white? I don't understand, Warboss Tay. Well, the answer is simple, Kimosabi. I just don't know it. If you know why, please feel free to leave a comment or a video response. I actually think though, and I am not by any means an art student or anything, so if this is totally completely wrong, then you can let me know, shoot me down and let me know. The reason why I think you paint this kind of like brownish base for white armor instead of just like gray or a darker tone of white is because the difference in color tone, like the added pigment of that brown, will draw the eye and make it look a little bit more realistic. Could be totally wrong, who knows? Yeah, so you want the paint to be nice and even. You don't want there to be any streaks.
Well, Nerd Boss.
Hello, Lady Boss.
Breakfast.
Ooh, thank you. And you want to make sure you get it all the way over. And this is why I think doing it over your base coats is good, because you can really easily just repaint over it. Like if I get any of this paint onto the black of the bolter, I can just repaint the bolter. You know what I mean, honey?
Hmm.
You want to see something crazy?
What?
Look, I'm painting my white motorcycle guy brown. What do you mean what happened? This is the base coat.
Is he gonna get whiter?
Yes. Don't worry. I know what I'm doing.
Look dirty.
Yeah, he does look dirty. He's a dirty Mongol. He's a dirty motorcycle riding biker dude. With a top knot. Alright, step 1, done. Next, and look what I found when I came to my painting desk this morning. Somebody was eating cookies and left one. I wonder who that was. Who could that have been eating cookies? Okay, Cookie Monster. You're a Cookie Monster. So the next thing is we're going to do a 3-3-2 mix of Celestra Gray, Steel Legion Drab, and it says Skull White, so I'm just going to be using Ceramite White rather than White Scars. So that's the paint mixture ratio for the next one. Before I get to that, I'm actually going to do one more thin coating of this Celestra Gray and Steel Legion Drab. But then when I'm ready, I'm gonna pop in a little bit of that baby. Alright, so we'll see you when I'm ready to start that step. Okay, so I'm back, and looks like we've done as much as we can do. We're pretty much just looking for good solid coverage over, the article says good solid coverage over many thin layers. At the beginning I'm just going to do 2 because this is just like setting the foundation for the rest of the color scheme. But if you want, you can do more. You just want good even coverage, especially on all the flat areas. So you see here it's kind of thin, so we're just gonna spread a little bit more there. Yeah, once we get into the highlighting up with the whites, it's gonna be a lot more. We're gonna be building up with a lot more layers. Okay, so like I said, we're doing the same mixture of Celestra Gray. I'll show this to you just for anyone interested. I'm gonna start using another area of the palette. Celestra Gray, Steel Legion Drab, and a slightly lesser mix of Skull White. I think that was way too much Celestra Gray, but that's okay. A little bit more to even that out. Okay, ceramite white is the color we're going to add. And if we imagined that what we just mixed was like three parts, like 3 drops, then you want to get like 2 drops. Although, I'm going to keep saying, without dropper bottles, Games Workshop, you're just kind of deluding yourself as to how accurate we can be. Can't be very accurate. Okay, so you get something that's a little bit lighter than what you had before. And that's what we're going to start building up the layers with. So let me show you what it looks like on this flat area of the bike. Just like that, and we're building up the colors towards the center. This is also the part where you're going to start looking for, okay, where would the shadows be? And not paint in those areas so much. For example, I think this plate back here would be slightly shaded, as well as the recesses up here, so I'm only going to paint a little bit around that area. And with these, I'm just painting as smoothly as I can. Like, you don't want to see any brush strokes, so just go over and over again. Do maybe like 2-3 layers if the first one isn't covering very well. So if you leave the base coat, the darker brown base coat in the recesses, that's fine. If you cover it at this point, it's fine too. You just want to think that however dark your darkest base coat left is in the recesses is however dark you're going to shade it. Like on all the flat areas and surfaces, we're definitely going to be covering with this new paint. But in the shadows, where, you know, when someone picks up your model, kind of turns it around in the light, then they might see like, oh wow, it looks like there's realistic looking shadows built up because of the base coats that you have left in the recesses. And I did this whole process for the right leg here, so everything that you see me doing is I've already done once before. I'm certified, qualified. so paint in all these areas. Anything that I leave white, like the base of this little trophy stand, I'm probably gonna change to something else like silver, gold. Haven't decided yet. Yeah, so for those of you who are looking at this tutorial and thinking, okay, this is too much, there's no way that I can do this for every single model in my army, maybe just save it for your characters. This is the, like I said, this is the Heavy Metal Masterclass on how to do white. So a simpler way to do white is really just prime white, do a white base coat, and wash maybe with like Agrax Earthshade only in the recesses, not over all the plates like I did. And then just build up with Ceramite White and White Scar. And I'm pretty sure that something like that is how Games Workshop did their White Scars army for their battle report with the orcs, with the new bombers when they were released. That's totally fine. Okay, now when you're getting to something like the Power Fist or the leg armor here, this is when you're going to start having to flatten out already where you're going to highlight and where you're going to leave the shadows. So I'm going to paint up the top of the knee pad here. I'm also going to paint up the higher areas of the Power Fist. Leave the lower ones slightly in shadow. Do the same with the Power Fist fingers. Paint the highlights closer to the tips. And that creates pretty realistic looking shadows. Or at least the basis for them. By the time we get, a couple more layers in, they should look really quite nice. Really aim for the higher areas. Closest to the light. Okay, and now I'm looking at the left leg here. I'm going to leave this area closest to the bike a little bit in shadow. So I'm only going to paint my highlight color like that all the way down. Same thing with the back here. I'm going to leave the back of it in shadow. So I do two very light and simple coats right across the front. Build up the color towards the bottom edge there. And the same thing with the segmented armor plates of the foot. His moon boot, his space shoe. And don't move on until you feel like you are really comfortable with the coverage, I guess, of the previous layer. Okay, we did the power fist, we did the shoe, the leg piece. I'm gonna go up to the shoulder blades, shoulder pads now. Starting from the front. We just put the paint on and then we spread it out at the edges. Okay, so you can tell that when I'm putting the paint on, it's not going on as evenly. It's starting to split, and that means that I'm running out of paint. So I have to mix up some more with this little custom mix. Yeah, the thing you don't want it to be is watery. So as soon as it starts getting like too shiny, not enough pigment, more paint, or more water than paint, just go back and mix up some more. Okay, so we're back. So the main reason why everybody complains, besides the price of the new paint pots and it not being not being dropper bottles, is because you can't, you know, for some people it's hard to eyeball, and it's not only is it just not convenient, but it's, yeah, like I said, it's, for some people they can't really figure out the same mixtures, even if you write down the recipe. 3 parts this to 3 parts that to 2 parts this is like a hassle to mix over and over and over. So it looks, yeah, like for example, it looks like this last batch that I mixed up is a little bit lighter than the one I just did. So when I'm covering it, painting over it, it looks like I'm already highlighting. When to me, I feel like I did the same mixture, 3 parts Steel Legion Drab to 3 parts Celestia Gray to 2 parts Ceramite White. Having to eyeball a mixture is just not the convenient way to do it. So me and my lady friend saw the movie Lincoln recently over the weekend. I enjoyed it. I thought it went on a little past its what it should have gone over, but so overall, I had more fun with it than I did with Warhorse. Did you see Warhorse? Which one did you like better, Lincoln or Warhorse? Yeah. That was Spielberg too, right?
Yep.
Warhorse. Or as I call it, the luckiest horse in the world. That horse was so lucky. Going from place to place, never knowing how close he was to becoming horse jerky. Alright, so when we're done building up as much as you want with this color, when you feel like you've gotten enough out of this cream, kind of does look like a cream colored light brown, then we're going to mix up the next color. And the next one is when we're really going to get more into the whites of the armor. Yep. Alright players, we are gonna end there. Some things that I did after my last video cut off because I didn't realize how short on time I was getting was I painted in the belt because I didn't realize, but apparently White Scars, like their whole entire armor except for their chest aquila and shoulder pads and stuff is just like it's all white, so we're gonna build up to that. But this is how your model should look at about now. And yeah, we're gonna take a little break here and come back. When we come back, we're gonna mix up even more brighter white paints and keep building up. Like I said, the goal is eventually to get to that. So thanks for watching everybody. We'll see you in the next video. Laters!